Hire fast? Great. But if you're not offering the right benefits, your best people could walk fast. Most founders overpay or delay benefits that don't even matter to their team. Today, I'm joined by Anthony Markey, an employee retention expert who helps small teams build smart, scalable benefit packages. You'll learn exactly what to offer for under 50 employees to boost retention without breaking the bank. Because keeping talent shouldn't cost your growth.
Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Runbeck, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability.
Health tech founders, if you want your breakthrough solution in front of 30,000 plus healthcare leaders, investors, and decision makers, you have now until January 2nd at midnight to apply for the Post-Point Pass Impact Award, the most high impact, high visibility opportunity for health tech companies ready to scale. Whether you got a protocol or you're already in Series B, this is your chance to pitch live to investors and clinicians who can open more enterprise contract for you and those who care to write you the next check. Be featured on multiple high-profile podcasts and multiple national business magazines. So far, we have at least 4 of them to place you, and we're going to send out press releases across all major news channels that are typically being picked up for more than 250 locations across the US, Canada, European, and UK. And you can also win a session with TEDx speakers to help you perfect your next pitch before taking on our Shark Tank style stage after the application has closed and advanced to the next round. So join the ranks of past winners who has raised millions and scaled. There is no cost to apply, but this window is closing fast. If you're building in digital health, mental health, women's health, diagnostic, chronic diseases, age tech, longevity, AI, this is for you. Again, deadline is January 2nd at midnight. Go to pulsepointpass.com/awards. See you then. Today we have Anthony Markey here with us. He is an independent insurance broker specializing in group health benefits for businesses. And we all know as entrepreneurs, when we start building our own team, there's always a point of it's not just we are supporting ourselves, but we're actually creating the economy for the people that are supporting us, supporting our mission, and especially in healthcare. We wanted to maintain healthiness for ourselves as well as impacting the overall healthcare system. And Anthony and his partner with companies to reduce healthcare costs, improve employee satisfaction, and simplify the benefits process. Retention of good talent, we know we spend a lot of time on hiring the right people. And that's why even for us to do a 5-dimensional leadership maximizer on getting you the right people. But once we get the right people, how do you make sure they stay with you for the long haul and they're not jumping ship? So talking about the benefits of what you give to your employees is so crucial, especially in the small and growth phase size of company. You cannot afford to lose these good people, and you cannot afford for them to become deactivated either. And through these innovation programs like wellness, incentives, self-fund options, and supplement coverages, Anthony helps the employers customize plans that really fits their team and their own budget. And so we're so excited for Anthony to be here with us and share with us these different overpaying side that maybe a business owner haven't even thought about? And now how can you truly make a disruption in retaining your employees by giving them the right support and benefits that they want, so they would really want to stay with you? So Anthony, thank you for being here. So tell us a bit about your journey. How come you find this disrupted market in health insurance benefits, and from so many different things out there that we can change? What made you to feel the passion in solving this problem right now?
Yeah, no, thanks, Sabrina. I really appreciate you having me on. I was excited to be here. I've done a lot in insurance. I've been self-employed and been independent for the past 7 years, and I've seen a lot of it. I've seen all sides. We're all exposed to, the health insurance side, especially here in the U.S. And we've all seen, the pros and cons, mostly the cons. We've seen a lot of negative. It's one of those things where we all acknowledge it's a little broken, and we all just kind of deal with it. So I was in that same boat. I'm a solopreneur. I had to go find my own insurances, and there's only so many options, and none of them seem great. It's like trying to find the lesser of two evils when you're comparing plans, and it's just not something that feels good. So when I started looking at the insurance side, the health insurance side, I started kind of comparing, contrasting, finding different groups, what they offer. And a lot of them are trying to do good things. They're trying to improve a lot of what we agree is broken. And then, finding different things and where to use them and how to use them is important, because insurance isn't a one size fits all. That's a big myth, where, what you need isn't necessarily what the next person needs. A lot of it's going to be custom. A lot of it's going to be individualized, and a lot of it is going to be dependent on the size of your business, how many employees you have, what kind of business you have, level of income for everybody involved. And it's a very complex thing. So being able to find relationships and partner with the people that can give it the justice it needs, the dues that it needs to go in and find to make whatever the option is work for you, not just say, hey, I work with this one company and they're the best. That's a red flag. They're clearly not the best in all areas. Otherwise, there wouldn't be competition. So that's what I do. That's what we do. We just try and find what solutions best fit your needs. Sometimes it's none. Right. Sometimes it's, your employees are paid, a little bit. You're not going to have really high participation. By offering something, you'll prevent them from going and getting individualized healthcare. So it might be that the best thing you can do is offer other programs outside of major medical, knowing that they can go get taken care of, but you can still offer other benefits to help with what you mentioned in the intro, your retention and attraction of talent. So it's a hodgepodge, and it's a mystery every time, and it's all a puzzle. So going in and getting hands-on and finding what fits for that person is the most important thing.
It's all customization, as you mentioned. And I think that's the difficulty, is that everyone has a different desire. And when they are creating trust between themselves and what they need to contribute to these companies, there's the inherent need for purpose alignment, right? So then going to a job, it's not just about skill set. It's not just about money that they can make to live, but when you wanted to stay with the company, or they start thinking about, or what else can I improve for the company, right? Not just living and doing the things within the job roles that's got defined. Then it becomes a lot more into how do they see themselves belonging. And then therefore this belonging part can be customized based on people's need, want. And then we all know there's a book called 5 Love Languages, and there's also the 5 appreciation languages. And then the Gallups that actually put out a research that among all employees, 1/3 of them are deactivated. And then also you have 1/3 are actively deactivated. So what does that mean? So people who are actively deactivated, they start talking bad about the company, right? They're like already dissatisfied, not there, and they're not getting what they want. But this, what they want, what is what they want from the employee benefit perspective? Is that really just lighter load? Is a better benefit for themselves, their family? There's a bunch of stuff coming out with caregivers, right? A lot of us are in the age of taking care of the elderly and the little ones, right? So what do you provide for them to feel that they are being supported in different ways? right? And most of them actually is not more pay. And when you have those people that actively disrupting your company, that is dangerous. And being able to figure out what they want become a lot more crucial and really timely and critical in beginning of forming a company, and especially when people are spending, right? Like we always talk about that, how quickly you onboard people. You also need to make sure they're fitting in the culture. You're not rocking the boat too much, or they seem to be fitting in the culture, but if they don't feel the growth of what they can do, then they also can become deactivated. So what are some tips when you start to work with company, and what size are they? Would you recommend to start thinking about these things?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could really start thinking about it at any size. Like once you decide, hey, you know what, I'm starting to grow a business and I want to be able to offer more outside of just pay. Because like you said, it's not just about pay. If all you're offering is pay, somebody's going to go down the street for a nickel raise, right? So you have to be able to offer something a little bit other than that. So a lot of that's going to depend on the age of your employees, what their goals are. If you're dealing with a business where it's a lot of younger guys, like let's say they're all in their early 20s, they're probably still on their parents' insurance. They could give a flip about major medical. They don't go to the doctor anyway. So looking at other options, that might be another way of adding value to them, whether it be, hey, we're going to put in this program, it's going to help with financial literacy, it'll help them save for retirement. That might be something that speaks to them.
As founders, we know the real cost of losing good talent. And the truth is, it's rarely about the money. Anthony breaks down what early stage companies under 50 people should actually offer to retain top talent performance, from wellness perks and caregiver supports to personalizing incentives plans that align with employee value. If you've been unsure when or how to build benefit packages that matters, this is an episode that should have helped you to clear the fog. Now, before we jump into the second half of our conversation, let's take a quick pause. If you're founder or executive with a proven product, past Series A funding, then we would love to invite you to speak at our podcast, Provider's Edge podcast, this one you're listening to, because your story deserves to be shared. And because growth without protection isn't a strategy, it's just a risk without a plan. So let's make sure your growth is being spotlighted and being shared in front of the right people.
Or, hey, there's this program here that you'll be able to use on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and it can lead to a net pay increase. So a lot of it's going to be, are you big enough now to where you can go, okay, I can start adding more for my guys? Because if you're just starting off, a lot of times it's just you're skinning your teeth. You're just wanting to make sure that you can make payroll, right? But once you're by that, you want to start adding as much as you can comfortably, because it's almost a trope with the newest generation where it's like the more that they do, the less that they're going to get. And a lot of them, whether it be the silent quitting, mass resignation, whatever it is, they're fine with telling you to, shove it. And if you're dealing with the older group, a lot of them, they're working specifically just for benefits. They're trying to bridge the gap until Medicare comes in, or they have a younger spouse or something along those lines. And they're trying to make it work. They're there specifically for the benefits. So being able to understand what your company needs, what your employees need, and be willing to look and see what's out there and what might be able to help them is going to be the big thing. Because like you said, if you have people that are actively in your business that are, kind of sabotaging, first off, get rid of them. But secondly, to prevent that, make it a place where people are, happy that they're there. They're not just there for a paycheck, because you're providing for them and their family, because ultimately that's all the job is for them, is a way to provide for the family. So if you give them more than one reason that you're able to do that, it's nothing but a positive for your business.
Yeah, exactly. The first thing we usually start looking into the leadership dynamic and team dynamic is generational gaps. Which generation do you have in your company to start with? What do they care about? How have they been influenced with decisions in the major things that have been changed? And then you start become more granular into how is each person being supported, whether you have some ability to do that right away, right? If they're starting small, a lot of them perhaps are 1099s, are not even W-2, right? Like all the startups, you probably only have a few different co-founders and your advisors are on equity share. You're not really paying them that much, or you're 1099. Once you start getting bigger, right, getting to that 50, 100 employee stage, then you needed to start thinking about these bare minimum things that you can help that entire company. And for some people, it could be for sure, right, basic necessity, like health insurance, some kind of life insurance, some kind of, some people are very much about like, oh, my kids has to be covered in some way, right? Like what does that even look like? And if you have your entire team are in that late 20s, 30s, right, early 40s, you're going to have kids, right? Like, are they be okay to work from home, but also have babysitters or these preschool cares, right? So I also wonder all the time, right? We work with these mid-sized companies, and sometimes I feel like budgeting is going to be a question in our head. Is like, how much do they need to even set aside to think about all these benefits to retain their employees, right? Because when they are smaller beginning, yes, it's just let's make payroll, right? Like make sure everyone is covered as we grow. But as they get to what point do you feel like people need to start thinking about setting aside certain money, save it up, so then they can add on to these benefits?
Yeah, so that's going to be dependent on, a lot of different factors for sure. Over 50, if you have more than 50 employees, you're going to have to offer something. Otherwise, you'll get fined. If you're over 100, then you have fiduciary responsibility to ensure you're offering the best programs for your employees. A lot of businesses of that size, they don't necessarily realize that they are personally liable for the benefits that they offer their employees. And to give you an idea, if you're a group of 120 and you have an uncle that does benefits and you've never shopped around, and it comes to, them taking a look at it and saying, hey, you're offering overpriced insurance for employees because they're the ones footing the, a good portion of that bill. You're personally liable. They can come after your personal assets, not just the companies. Even if you have money in the trusts, they can go after it. So at that size, for sure, you want to make sure you're doing your due diligence because it's required. And in the near future, it's likely to get less, right? So right now, if you're over 100, it's required. In the near future, might be 50, might be smaller. So at the moment, those are the for sure breakpoints. A lot of the, what you'll want to consider with your smaller businesses is, at 25, do you have a set employees that you need to retain? You're going to have to offer something. If it's just income, like I said, they'll leave and go to your competition for that other thing. So once you reach that part, when you can afford it, right, to be fair, but you also can't afford not to, keep your best talent. So it's really just the math you got to work out on your own. But the breakpoints to know for sure are 50 and 100. And like I said, a lot of that's likely to get smaller. There's certain states out there where there's requirements on employees. So really depends on where you live as well.
Yeah, and it seems like the earlier you can have these conversations with someone like yourself who's an expert in insurance and employee benefits, the better it is. And talk to multiple people as well as their CFOs to figure out what's that budget, how do they look down the road, right? We're always talking about any company, even you just started, should be profit first principle, right? It's about how you can even just give yourself that little extra to protect yourself and feel the win, but at the same time, allow your entire employee to feel the win with you, right? There's a growth incentive. There's a different type of things. And then even when they're small, there could still be extra bonuses based on whether they are liking to have personal support, right? Perhaps those additional benefit, it just giving them the extra people and team for them to have those support versus it could be they want the extra time off. So having a system to accrue those extra days for whether it's sick, vacation, whatnot. And I feel like smaller companies just needed to be more creative. Once you start getting bigger, 50 plus, then there's a regulation that you have to hit. So then as people are growing expansion, it's not just as easy of, oh, I onboarded 10 people last month and this is very exciting. I'm a lot more help. Is that how do you keep not only internal, right, workflow and structure, but also as a support system, keep a compliance and regulation from the US space. So when people are usually come to you, what's some of the biggest challenges that they seem to have when they are working with you?
Yeah, so the biggest is always if they already have a broker. Like I kind of alluded to earlier, oh, my uncle does it. Well, your uncle's overcharging you 30%, right? I know that those conversations can get a little bit awkward over Christmas dinner, but your existing broker needs to earn your business. Every year you're getting hit with renewals and you're like, why did it go up 10%? Why did it go up 12%? It's important to look. Like I said, it's important to look just for your bottom line, but it's also the right thing to do for your employees, because if your employees are paying extra because you want to avoid an uncomfortable conversation, that may in the future bite you in the butt. But the hard ones are just trying to figure out exactly what you want to offer. A lot of people think that you have to offer the whole kit and caboodle. You don't. You can add little things along the way that you can grow into. Kind of like you said earlier, the company starts hitting some milestones, you might be able to add more and more and more.
So here's the thing that's very real for founders in growth mode. Anthony and I unpacked why offering the right benefits isn't just about checking a box of what you have to do in the HR department. It's about aligning what your team truly value across generations. Whether your team is still scrappy and part-time or scaling past 50, you'll need to navigate both personal priorities and legal requirements. From budget smart perks like flexible time off to avoiding personal liability. When you cross 100 employees, this is the kind of conversation that keeps your team loyal and your business protected. Now, I want to hear from you before we go on the rest of the episode. Tell us in a comment below wherever you're listening and watching this, or post on LinkedIn and tag me, Sabrina Runbeck, running backwards with an E. What was the first benefit beyond salary you offer to your team, and why?
Before you know it, you have a full benefit package where you might just start off with like an ancillary benefit where you find out what would be the most important for the majority of your employees, find something that's smaller, affordable, and put it into place. There's certain programs out there that can actually lead to, payroll savings, right? It saves you more money than the cost. The employees can walk away with a bit of a pay raise. Those are the easy, obvious ones that you want to start looking at when you're over 10 or so full-time employees. But there's things all along the way that you might want to start considering and start, quoting and start getting ideas about and having conversations about, whether it's with me or with somebody else, that again, you want to retain your best talent, right? You don't want them working for your competition. You just spend all that time and money to get them trained up to be, what you need them to be for them to walk down the road. That's a huge hit when something little might have been able to keep them around.
Yes, no matter it's a smaller company, growth size company, and especially when you think about these larger ACU hospital, right? They have a whole department to look at those things. But when we are in that startup, scale up stage, we needed to start thinking about more creative ways like what you have shared for different options, because at the end of the day, I think we all just wanted to have choices, right? And be able to have the control of thinking about how we can support ourselves, our own family, as well as our whole team. Because at the end of the day, that is a second family to us. We're seeing almost day in, day out. Despite of not having a physical location. A lot of people are doing these telemedicine, digital health solutions, but as your team, as your partners, and those are still your, what we say, like the work wives and husbands, right? The work best friends. So be able to think it that they are the part of your family that you wanted to support, I think then we become more intentional about what options we wanted to serve for them. And I think that's also a big part of, even for us, when we think about onboarding, a co-founder need to find another person, or they need to bring on the executive team. And some of that is not just about the best talent, best CV out there to onboard, is seeing the match of that whole entire dynamic. And then can you support them the way that they wanted to, right? Like, do you recognize when they're not doing so well, you can be able to step in, or your company even have this infrastructure. So then these benefits can pick up from someone else that are not even thinking about the employees or their partners at all, right? So be able to be smart, stand out there is very crucial. So I so appreciate, Anthony. Anything that you wanted to add to the end as we wrap up?
Yeah, no, to the point you made early, even, for to help the little guys feel better, even the big guys, like you mentioned, like the hospital groups, they're anywhere between 15 to 35% overpaying. It's a universal thing. It's not just limited to the little guys. Yeah. It's newer, you're smaller, it's a smaller scale, but there's organizations of tens of thousands of people out there that are being overcharged hundreds of millions a year, and they just don't realize it because this is such a big area where people don't know what they don't know, right? If you've been dealing with all this insurance one way and you've never really shopped around or looked around, a lot of the big guys, they're slow to move, right? So one of the things that you have as an advantage of being a smaller company is your agility, right? Yeah, you might be overcharged 20%, but you can make that change within the next couple months. Whereas them, yeah, they're being overcharged hundreds of millions of dollars, and you have to talk to 30 different people to finally talk to somebody that's like, oh man, I want to save those hundreds of millions of dollars. So you're not in it alone. It's a hot mess for everybody. We're there to just try and fix it. So whether you're big or small, it doesn't matter. Find somebody that can help.
Exactly. And I gone through it myself too. When I start switching to do running my own businesses, we're no longer being part of these big hospital system where you have like 6 different plans to choose. Now you have to go independent, right? And then thinking about how much you needed to cover for yourself and family. And then I think that's also one of the barrier for many practitioners who are reluctant to completely dive 100% into their own business because they still have one foot in with a larger organization, feeling like that security of still have benefits versus one foot of what if I go independent and my premium is so high every month. It's like a second car that you're buying, right? Just for your health insurance. So what is it that you're supposed to be choosing? So definitely have the right conversation. For everybody who are out there running your business, having a conversation, reach out to Anthony, and he's active on LinkedIn. Where else should people find you?
Best way, you can email me at admin@ikag.me. Or find me on LinkedIn, whatever works. I'm most places. So
perfect. And for everybody who's listening for this, we would love to hear from you. What are some of the ways that you've been dealing with creating different options of benefits for your employees, or how, when you started your company, what are some of the ideas that you're able to keep people by having these different options? We love to learn from our community and continue to support you in this journey. So until next time. Okay, that was such a powerful conversation with Anthony. And I know if you are a founder trying to scale your team sustainably, you're probably thinking about what to do next. So before you jump into the next thing on your to-do list, let's recap the highlights. Here are the learning points for you to take away and help you rethink how you're using compensation and benefits as a lever for retention and growth. Number 1, employee benefits are strategic, not just optional. Many founders delayed offering benefits due to cost, but Anthony emphasized early stage company must think beyond just their pay, and especially you're doing equity share and bonuses. to retain key talents. Number 2, one size fits all does not work. Benefits must be customized to team's demographics. For example, the younger team members might prefer financial literacy programs, while older staff care about health benefits or family coverages. Number 3, silent detection is a business risk. I refer to Gallup's study that 1/3 of employees are deactivated and another third are actively deactivated, which means they are talking bad about the company or about their coworkers behind their back and ruining the company culture. This can truly undermine your effectiveness and productivity from within. Number 4, early conversations lead to smarter scaling. Startups don't need full-blown insurance packages immediately. They can start with smaller incentives and evolve offering as they scale to 25, 50, or 100 plus employees. Number 5, failing to review benefits equals legal and financial risks. Once a company crosses 50 plus employee, you're legally obligated to offer something. At 100 plus, fiduciary responsibility kicks in, and poor choices can put personal assets at risk. Number 6, even larger enterprise overpay. Bigger players like hospital systems often overpay by 15 to 35%, proving that even seasonal HR teams fail to audit or optimize benefits. Agility becomes a competitive edge. So let me ask you this. If one of your top employees resigned tomorrow, would your benefit be a reason they would stay or a reason they would leave?
Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.